You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and what follows is a conversation between myself and one of the real legends of the modern heavy metal music industry. I'm talking about Mr. Bjorn Speed Strid. He's in Soilwork and also the Night Flight Orchestra. The reason for the conversation this time around is to promote Soilwork's brand new album, which will be released sometime in 2019. It's called Verkligheten. I think that's how you pronounce it. So let's have a listen to what Speed has to say. Here we go. Calling for our chat. How you going?
Good. How are you?
Good, mate. This is the, I think it's the third or fourth time we've had a chat in the last 2 years, mate. So it's always nice to look forward to talking to you again, actually. I think the last time we had a chat was, there were two things that were happening last time we had a chat. You were talking about the release of the Night Flight Orchestra album, the last one. And
exactly.
Someone who we both knew, Ralph Santolla, was, it was actually the night before he passed away. So the next day...
I do remember that.
Yeah, I might kick off with that question then, if it's... Well, just ask you for your thoughts on that, if that's okay, because we dived into it a little bit at the time, but now that it's been 6 months since he's passed, mate, how do you remember the great man?
Well, I miss him every day, and there was just really something special about that man, his humor and that smile. And I mean, we lived together for like 3 weeks at my house. This must have been 2012, and we had a lot of interesting discussions. And his political views were completely different than mine, but we got along just fine. And I think that was just a perfect example of a really good man who's sort of just a really stand-up guy who can discuss just about anything. And it's still really heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, what do you say, really? We're one of the greatest guitarists that ever walked the earth, certainly in my view, and I think it's a view shared by many other people. And I only knew him really as a fan. I had a couple of conversations with him, but you knew him as a brother and as a mate. So I'm sorry for you, man, that one of your good friends departed this mortal coil. But mate, he's left a tremendous legacy of wonderful music, with particularly with one of my favourite albums. Deicide's The Stench of Redemption reinvigorated Deicide's career.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. At least we still have the music. And I don't know, I just feel that he's there, somehow. And I think about him often, and it's kind of interesting. It's like one of those, he has so many friends, and social media always shares stuff that he said online, and there should be a book, put out with his his comments and posts. It's genius.
I'd agree with that one. I did miss his Facebook updates. The few times a day that he'd post updates was something that he found quite humorous. Oftentimes, there were things that you had to work at to find the humour in, but once you found it, you were with him and you were laughing along with him.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. All right, so let's talk about this 11th album of yours with Soilwork. So I'm probably going to mispronounce it here, so apologies, but I think it's Verkligheten. Does that sound about right?
Close enough. Verkligheten.
Oh, gosh. Verkligheten. There we go.
Yeah.
Look,
well done.
Of course, I've got an advanced copy courtesy of Nuclear Blast and John, so I've had quite a few listens to it, and as usual from you, mate, I'm a fan. Everything you do is touched by quality. But what have you got to say about the album?
Well, I think, we can definitely recognize Soilwork, but there's some sort of classic heavy metal elements being brought back that we had in the beginning of the career, but at the same time, we're also sort of continuing on the path that we've created ever since The Living Infinite, which was a huge experiment. And we recorded 27 songs, but I think we found a new expression there, and we're still on that path, and we're still evolving, and which makes it very exciting, still.
Yes,
with the
indeed.
11th album and being around for 20 years. And I think that's one of the reasons that why we're still around, that we feel sort of free in our expression, and it's I would say the album sounds extremely Scandinavian, especially with the melodies and the sort of
I'd agree.
melancholy running through it. You know, and it's very intense and atmospheric and pretty extreme at times, but also hauntingly beautiful, I guess.
You said something in there. 20 years, mate. You're dangerously close to making this a career, aren't you?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy to do it playing heavy metal, but you've done it.
No, yeah, I guess I did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. But the other thing that I noticed too is just looking through Wikipedia. There's been 2 changes in personnel since the album in 2015, the Ride Majestic. So, what particular skill sets and new ideas did the new guys bring to the album?
Well, I think they brought a lot, and you know, with Bastian being the new drummer after Dirk left from Megadeth, you know, and I mean, he was already touring with the band by the time that Dirk left permanently for Megadeth. So that transition was, after all, pretty smooth. You know, of course, we missed Dirk, but you know, I'm glad that Bastian was a part of the touring cycle for the Ride Majestic before we approached a new album, and we got to know him a lot better, both musically and also on a personal level. You know, and then we've decided, you know, to continue as a 5-piece, you know, because we've had sort of bad luck with bass players, you know, and I mean, I guess it's only natural, you know, in this age too. I mean, we've been around for 20 years, and you know, I started the band when I was like 17, you know, and there's going to be a lot of things happening during that time. You know, I've been growing up with a band, and of course people find other things in life, you know, and so do I, you know, and it's just, you know, with Marcus, for example, the bass player that was in Ride Majestic, he became a father again, you know, and he just couldn't handle the touring. So, I mean, it's all, you know, understandable. But after that, we decided to continue as a 5-piece, you know. I think it makes things a little bit easier in the end. So other than that, it's, you know, it's the same lineups, and, you know.
It's very stable otherwise. Yeah. Did you think about getting Ola back in, or was that just something that wasn't considered?
Oh, you mean Ola Flink?
Yeah, the bassist. Yeah, the bassist for mini albums.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a prison guard, and he seems to be very happy doing that.
Shit.
You know, I don't know. He was, and I think he really likes, you know, living a normal life and not, you know, being out on the road. And I think he's a man of you know, he likes routines, and it's kind of hard to find that as a musician, you know, and financial stability is very hard to find as well. So it's all understandable. I mean, I've been there myself too. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it becomes sort of hard with age, especially all the traveling. You know, and not being able to have sort of daily routines. You know, I think that's something that comes with age. Even though I just turned 40. I'm not that old, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you guys, you're coming down again in March, I think it is. So you've got 3 shows. So have you thought about what sort of a set list you'll be putting together? For example, are you going to be playing, you know, I know you've got to play the classics for the fans, otherwise they'll get, you know, they'll post nasty things on bloody social media, you know how it is. But are you going to be playing a lot from the new album, do you think, when you come down?
I think so. I mean, I also want to be fair to this lineup, because I believe that there was sort of a new era starting with the Living Infinite, you know, and so we're trying to focus a little bit on the latest 3 albums, but of course we're going to bring back some old gems as well from our career. So that's only fair to the fans. So you want to be fair to the lineup and what we sort of stand for nowadays, you know, but also be fair to the fans, which is not easy, you know. So.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
I bet it is. Yeah, especially with bloody the amount of albums that you've got these days. And here's a good question for you: do you think there's an opportunity for you to throw in any Night Flight Orchestra material into the shows?
No, we like to keep those things separate. But yeah, it would be interesting.
That'd be really cool from your perspective on stage, because I imagine a lot of these the garden variety Soilwork fan, they might not be aware of the work that you're doing with the Night Flight Orchestra. And if you start playing a song like that up there, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
It's like, what is this song? Is this disco?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because it's quite a departure, isn't it? Yeah. Do you cop any shit from fans online about the difference between the two bands?
Not really. I mean, I've seen people somehow comparing, some of the songs on the new album, at least the singles. It's like, oh, it sounds like the Night Flight Orchestra. I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
I don't really feel. I can maybe see what they mean with some things here and there, but I also think that it's because that now people have a reference.
Yes.
We've done stuff like this with Soilwork before, even Night Flight Orchestra existed. So I guess you take your sense of melody with you wherever you go. But I mean, then again, when people mention Night Flight Orchestra, it's not a bad thing. It's not like they say like, "Oh, this is crap. It sounds like Night Flight Orchestra." It's actually just like, "Oh, it sounds like Night Flight Orchestra," and that's not a bad thing. It's like what? Yeah. So I'm very confused about the whole thing.
I think you nailed it though.
Mostly. Yeah.
Oh, I think you nailed it though when you said that people have got a reference, so they've got this confirmation bias where they start hearing things of the Night Flight Orchestra in Soilwork's material now just because they've heard Night Flight Orchestra. Because if they hadn't heard it, they wouldn't say it sounded like anything else. They just sounded like an evolved version. They'd probably just think it just sounded like a natural evolution from where the Ride Majestic left off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, how about the in the Nuclear Blast portal? I've been listening to them a bit actually. The first two albums, so Internal Affairs and Skyline Whispers, were they re-released or were they just released on digital media platforms through Nuclear Blast? Like, how come they were effectively re-released, those two albums?
Because the two first albums are on a really small label in Italy, and a lot of people have expressed that they, want to buy the two first albums, especially on vinyl, and so that's where the idea came out, and so Nuclear Blast got in touch with Corner Records, and they made a deal together in order to put out the two first albums and made them available to everyone, which is really cool. And a lot of people are really happy, including myself, actually, now that they're finally out, especially on vinyl. It's really cool stuff, and I guess people can also see sort of, evolution of the Night Flight Orchestra sound. Listening to those two records, everything is going to make more sense somehow.
Yeah, I understand. They're pretty bloody good albums, mate, actually. I wouldn't have known where to find them, actually. Of course, people can look on Wikipedia, but it's a smart move. And it also stops the Punishers from coming up to you just about every single show and asking you when you're going to re-release them or where the hell they can get copies of them from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting. I've seen Jake E. Lee. You've probably seen Jake E. Lee is touring again, releasing albums and touring again with Red Dragon Cartel.
Yes.
And he made a decision not to play Aussie material, which I think is insane, to be honest with you, because I think 90% of the audience, 95% of the audience had known him through his association with Aussie. But he's playing, I think, some Badlands material. Now, you can't actually get any of the Badlands material on any digital platforms. You've got to try and search for the CDs. They don't even re-release the CDs, apparently. Eddie Trunk was a bit... I think Eddie Trunk might know the reason, but I don't think it's something that they can widely broadcast. But effectively, Jake's touring with a brand new band, of course, playing new songs and limited referencing to Badlands and no referencing at all to Aussie, which I don't think is such a great move, because he's just going to cop it at every meet and greet, asking him where he can get Badlands material from, why he won't play Aussie material.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Oh, well, mate, it's been a good chat. I better let you go because I know you've got a minute or two until the next one. But always good company, mate, the third or fourth time around. And, God, I've got two kids, as I mentioned last time. These days, mate, it's always bloody hard for me to get out, but I'm going to try and make these shows. So hopefully we have a chat before the band Soilwork tours Australia in March.
Yeah, I hope so too.
No worries, mate. All the best with it, and congratulations. As I said last time, mate, congratulations on a stunning career and for making it 20 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries, mate. Okay, chat to you later.
All right. Okay, take care.
Catch you. Bye. You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was a conversation with Bjorn Speed Strid. He's in Soilwork and also the Night Flight Orchestra. Thanks so much for listening.